Very well. Nataka kuchukua tena fursa hii kuwarudishieni asante sana nyinyi wenzetu waandishi wa habari ambao tumeandamana na nyinyi siku ya leo, tukiwa pamoja na ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, tukiwa tumetembea tu kuangalia miradi mbalimbali ya maendeleo katika hapa mji huu wetu wa Nairobi na pia katika kaunti jirani ya Kajiado. Tunasema ya kwamba ushirikiano wetu ndio unatuwezesha kufaulu na kutengeneza mambo ambayo itakuwa ya manufaa kwa wananchi wetu. Na ndipo tukasema ni vizuri tutembee pamoja. Nikamwalika na nashukuru sana ndugu yangu kwa kukubali kuja tushinde pamoja na wewe katika shughuli hii ambayo ilikuwa imepangwa siku ya leo. Niseme pia ya kwamba nina furaha na nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa sababu siku ya leo pia ni siku ya ndugu yangu ya kwanza kuwa ameweza kupata ile cheti ya kusema ya kwamba sasa ni COVID negative. Tunamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kumlinda wakati huo mgumu, na tuko na furaha tukiwa pamoja naye, tukijua ya kwamba sasa tunarudi kazini pamoja vile tulikuwa, ya kuunganisha Wakenya, ya kuendelea na maendeleo ya taifa, na hiyo ni furaha yetu sisi wote. Kwa hivyo hongera kwa, tunaona bado nguvu iko mingi. Mungu ni mwema na tunamshukuru, na kwa sababu tayari tumekuwa na nyinyi, mumeona yale ambaye sehemu mbalimbali ambazo tumetembea. Ningependa nimpatie ndugu yangu sasa nafasi aseme machache kidogo, alafu tuweze kujibu maswali yenu. Ndugu yangu.
Nichukue fursa hii kutoa shukrani sana kwa ndugu yangu Rais Uhuru Kenyatta ambaye amekuja akanitoa kwa kitanda. Akaniambia nitoke. Vile hii mnajua, kwa wiki 3 sasa nimekuwa mimi naugua ugonjwa wa corona, na nimekaa nyumbani kwa wiki 2. Wiki moja nilikuwa hapo Nairobi hospital, lakini sasa mara 2 mfululizo madaktari wamekuja wakanipima na zote zikatoka ati COVID negative. Kwa hivyo amenitoa na mimi nikasema nitatoka ili niende nje niweze kuonana na wananchi, wanione ana kwa ana ya kwamba mimi niko sawa sasa. Tena wanipata ni fursa ya kuona miradi zingine za maendeleo hapa Nairobi na vile vile nje ya Nairobi, nchi ya Kajiado. Miaka karibu 10 iliyopita niliongea juu ya mambo ya miundo msingi. Nikaulizwa ati njia gani ambayo tunaweza kuleta maendeleo kwa njia ya kasi katika taifa letu. Nikasema number 1 infrastructure, number 2 infrastructure, number 3 infrastructure. Na yale imekuja sasa kuingia, na nimeona vile serikali inafanya. Hata ukichukua zile big 4 agenda iko infrastructure ndani yake, na hiyo ni muhimu zaidi. Nchi nyingi ambazo zimeendelea kwa njia ya kasi ni nchi ambazo zimechukua mambo ya miundo msingi kwa muhimu zaidi. Kwa hivyo natoa shukrani kwa serikali. Najua wakati huu ni wakati mgumu kwa taifa letu, wakati sisi tumekumbwa na janga hii ya corona, na tena imerudi kwa njia ambayo iko mbaya zaidi. tunazidi kupoteza wenzetu kila siku, viongozi, watoto wa shule na kadhalika. Lakini mpaka sisi tuzidi kujihadhari na kufuata ile kanuni ambayo inatoka kwa wataalamu ambao tumeweka pale. Najua ni ngumu zaidi, tena kuna eneo zingine za uchumi ambayo watu wanaumia kabisa, na mimi najua kwamba serikali itajaribu kusaidia wale wengine ili waweze kumudu shida kwa wakati huu kama sasa. Sasa tunaelekea kwenye sherehe ya Pasaka. Ina sababu nataka nichukue fursa kutaka kila Mkenya, ingawaje tuko na shida, lakini tuwe na Pasaka njema kila mahali ambayo sisi tutakuwa. Vile Rais amesema, mbele tuko na kazi ya kufanya ya kuunganisha Wakenya ili Wakenya waje kama kitu kimoja. Tunataka kurudisha Kenya kwenye gurudumu pale ambaye ilianza wakati tulipopata uhuru, ili Wakenya wawe kama Wakenya ambaye hakuna ubaguzi ya kabila, ubaguzi ya kijinsia, ubaguzi ya kirangi na kila kitu. Mimi nina hakika tukiungana pamoja tutafaulu. Kwa hivyo Pasaka njema kwa kila mtu, na tuombe Mwenyezi Mungu azidi kulinda taifa letu.
Well done.
The kind of treatment regime you are going through, and as you went through these 3 weeks, were you scared at any point in time? And to you, Mr. President, of course, after the measures that you announced last week on Friday, there's been a lot of cry, especially from institutions and firms that have been affected by the partial lockdown and the other containment measures. So for you, as you listen to this cry, which sometimes and mostly is genuine, what is that will make you decide to go back to the economy operating in full capacity, as it were?
Well, you hardly can tell how you contract this disease, because you really try to do your best. Like I've been keeping social distancing, I've been wearing masks, and I've also not been avoiding crowding, but it just comes, and you find yourself feverish and getting a little bit weak, and then when they do the test, then they find that you are positive. But I do believe that the best way to go is to follow the instructions that we are getting from our experts. There's really no other way out of it. And but also, now that the vaccination is available, I really want to encourage our people to take advantage, particularly those who are advanced in age, to do vaccination. I am going to personally arrange to do a public vaccination so that people can see that I have confidence in the process.
Thank you. I think the issue you raised is a self-answering question. I want to make it categorically clear that the measures that we have imposed are not my measures. These are measures that have been brought to us by those who have the knowledge, the professionals, the doctors, the medical practitioners, the scientists. They went through and we had long sessions with them. And this was their recommendation, that if we are to stem this virus from continuing to grow, kill people, the only thing we can do is to lock down. In fact, if we had gone by their extreme measures, they had wanted us to lock down the whole country. We had to come down to tell them we also have an economy, we also have livelihoods, which we must consider. And that is why they picked those counties that we locked down as the most heavily infected counties, and we went for what is called a partial lockdown, not even a total lockdown. a partial lockdown. As the Honorable Prime Minister has said, it is true. As a result of that partial lockdown, some segments of our economy are indeed hurting. The hospitality sector, bars. We also know that churches are not having the opportunity to gather, but at the end of the day, we have not said that people cannot pray. And we welcome people to pray in their homes. But the most important thing is that we must stay safe. And by staying safe means we do everything that is possible to follow the protocols and the guidelines that have been given to us by the health experts. The washing of hands, the social distancing, the wearing of masks, and indeed encourage those, especially of that age bracket that is most vulnerable, is the elderly, who are most susceptible to death, to be vaccinated. And as to when these measures will be removed and we can go back to normal, which is our prayer every single day, depends on how we are able to flatten this curve. When will we be able to get to an infection rate that has gone to a high of almost 27% in those counties that I've mentioned, back down to below 5%, which is the recommended level in order for us to be able to open up the economy again. So all I can say is, fellow Kenyans, I know it is difficult, but we cannot pretend that this disease is not with us. We cannot ignore the advice that we are getting from the World Health Organization, from CDC Africa, from our own experts, that the only way to save lives is to take the measures that we have taken. Please, let us work together. Let us cooperate and collaborate with our health experts. And the sooner every single Kenyan begins to do that which is necessary, the sooner we shall be able to get back to normal. Next.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is George Maringa.
First and foremost, recognize that this lockdown is very different from the first one. The last lockdown that we had, had to lock down the whole country. And that is why we had to take some of those measures, because we basically locked down the whole country and the whole economy. This time, luckily, some counties have done extremely well. And the rate of positivity was not the same across the whole country. So we were able to narrow it down and lock these, I think there were five counties. The rest are still functioning as per normal. And it is our hope that within that 30-day period, and hopefully even sooner, when we are able to bring that curve down, like I said, to below 5%, that we shall be able to resume. And that is why we have not locked down, like I said, we have not locked down the economy. We have locked down specific areas that have been mentioned by our health experts as being the areas of super spreaders. And that is public events. That is where people, more than 50 people gather. That is why bars have been closed. That is why churches have been closed. But the rest of the economy is still going on. We have not closed our markets. They are still operating, all within normal operation times. We have not closed down factories. In fact, factories are still operating on double shift. Yes, so we have a problem in the hospitality sector. We possibly also will have a problem in the entertainment sector. And we will look to see how we can work together to support some of these sectors. But that will have to be on an issue-by-issue basis, because it's not, when you talk tax, you talk about the whole country. You're not talking about a section of the country. So we will have to look at whatever measures that we can take that can specifically apply to within those particular counties. We have, for example, in Nakuru, where they have said there will be no licenses, it will be paid, you know, because that is how they are going to cushion the business operators in Nakuru. We hope the other counties will also do similar interventions, so that the levies that people have been paying and so on and so forth, you know, are waived in those counties that are affected. So it will have to be a case-by-case basis, because this is not a national lockdown, and we cannot do different tax measures, you know, for one county as opposed to another. This is what I hope you will understand.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. My name is Gina Kiroi. In terms of domestic travel, because there's still that issue of domestic travel of flights chartering from back and forth, are there any specific incentives for that sector? And my second question is, with what happened with the third wave, political rallies were banned, but we saw double standards several times. What's going to be done differently now to ensure that when you say political gatherings are banned, they are banned and no one is going to go through with them? So yes, thank you.
Let me put it to you this way, because I think it is a reverse question. I think that you have a huge responsibility to show out those people who are breaking. That is why, specifically today, when we went to launch these roads that we were doing, when we went on the inspection site, we have actually done it virtually, only with the company of the Right Honorable Prime Minister and yourselves. We didn't have to, we didn't call in the general public. We counted on you, and we thank you very much for being able to accompany us, so that other Kenyans are also able to see and to take note of what is happening. So I think that is all I can say, that we will do everything we can, but we will also depend on you, members of the Fourth Estate, to help us to show up those who will flaunt these rules, and we will ensure that anybody who does, action will be taken against those people. We want to be able, and we can work, we can do all these things like we have spent the day with you, without necessarily breaking the COVID rules. So we have shown that it is possible. We can work within that framework, and we hope that others will do, and those that don't, there will be no differential in the measures that shall be taken against them.
Last question.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. President. My name is Givasun Maina from Kironi. My question is, on regards to, you know, the vaccination and the vaccines, and this is that we've only managed 1.2 you know, doses, and some have taken their first doses, some have not yet taken it completely. You know, what's the progress so far? You know, for those who have taken, some are saying if the government, there's no plan or it could delay, then they could miss on the second doses, and even for those who have not taken completely. Thank you.
I want to assure you that nobody who has taken their first dose, and that I can give you complete assurance, is going to miss out on their second dose. That's point number one. Point number two is that it is a fact that there is a global problem in the supply chain of vaccines. Every single country is having problems accessing vaccines. But what we are doing is working day and night with all the different partners that we have across the world to ensure that we are able to get these vaccines in the shortest time possible, in order to be able to first and foremost ensure that all frontline workers are vaccinated. Secondly, those who are most vulnerable and those living with comorbidities, you know, it's those living with comorbidity and those who have are above a certain age, again, are also covered, as we move towards vaccinating generally the adult population of Kenya. So we are working day and night to ensure that we have these vaccines here and available. But I give you the assurance that anybody, and that is why it is very important for the records that are being maintained by, that's why you're being asked for your telephone number, your place of residence, and all those questions. Those questions are so that when your time comes for the second injection, you are made aware that your vaccine is in place X. Please make yourself available. to be administered with a second dose. So nobody who has received the first dose will miss out on the second. And point number 2 is that we are working day and night to ensure that we are able to get the necessary supplies in order to be able to vaccinate our population.